Hey everyone, welcome to Virtual Vegfest Live. I'm Helene and I'm your host for today. So excited. It's been again another hot minute since I've done a Virtual Vegfest Live. And after this one, it'll probably be a few weeks before I do another one. But I have some amazing guests lined up. And I will be at the Plant Based World Expo at the Javits Center in New York City on December 9th through the 11th. And I will be going live with some pretty awesome plant-based businesses that are pretty well known because they've reached out to ask me to do that, and super excited. So I'm going to let that be like a little teaser, so you make sure you kind of follow the social media so you see when I start to go live, and you get to see who I get to meet and who you get to learn about during that. So let's talk about contests. We're the only people that give away amazing prize packs every month, and it's really simple to enter. You go to virtualvegfest.com, you hit the contest tab, and do our wish pond, and you do things like subscribing to our social media and doing something like subscribing to our YouTube channel, Virtual Veg Fest, and you get 25 entries for that. Sharing really cool stuff, Follow Your Heart, Hodo Foods, Orgain, let's see, Cinnaholic, Taro Seed, Hodo Foods, and I always forget the seventh one, and I'm not 100% sure why I keep Revolution Gelato. Got it. So you go in prize packs from one of them monthly. You just give it to you. You just have to do like a little thing like do our wish bond. Simple as that, virtualvegfest.com. Let's see. Thank you to Rebel Cheese out of Texas for sponsoring our lives this month. And that's really cool because it's in Austin, Texas, and they have amazing vegan cheese that you probably want to check out. And they have a monthly club that it can ship to you right to your door. Very cool. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We did. It's one of my favorite days of the year. Hey, Keisha. Welcome. Thanks for watching. Favorite holiday of the year was yesterday, and it's compassionate, totally vegan, with Durham in Durham, North Carolina. The Triangle Vegetarian Societies, all vegan, largest vegan Thanksgiving in the country. So very fortunate to live in a community that we have that at our fingertips. Let's see. We're going to talk health today, which, perfect thing to do the day after eating a lot of food for most people. And we've got Katya with us from Total Body Lab, and she is a power lifter. She's a former bodybuilder, and she's on the Vegan Stew. She's one of the Stew crew as well. And I want to just kind of say, like a year ago, the day after Thanksgiving on Black Friday, I had the good fortune to interview Sarah. And Sarah, if you haven't seen that show, please go check it out, because the reason why I put her in last year as like I think a third interview in the same week was because, hi Susan, it was because she told me when I said let's do a show in January that she might not be alive in January. And she has since passed, but she made it through January, and she made it through to around the summertime. And she died of a brain tumor. And it's an amazing, amazing thing. If you want to see somebody who understood that they were going to die and in a short period of time, and how she lived was just unbelievable. There's lessons to be learned in that conversation. So I implore you to go check that out. And that's something that I'll always think of on this day every year. So I just want to throw a little at that. Normally, longer start than I normally have. Let's go get Katya. Hey, Katya, how are you?
Hey, Helene. Thank you for bringing me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I just want to talk about remembering Sarah, because Sarah was I was just amazing. And of course, it's Black Friday, and I have shopped today, which I usually do, but I don't go into a store. And but I got a 10 by 20 tent, which was something that you'll find value in because you'll be under it at the Veg Fest. It's really cool. It's actually turquoise, very similar to like the background behind me.
What's turquoise?
The tent. I bought a 10 by 20 tent for the events.
Huh.
And it's
Nice.
turquoise, like your hair. It's the same color as your hair.
Yeah, at first I could thought you're talking about my hair, and I was like, it is. It's about to not be. I'm about to change the color, but yeah, for now,
Oh yeah, what color?
probably light pink. I don't know. We'll see.
Ooh,
Whatever
okay.
my hairstylist wants to do.
Oh, how fun. All right, so let me throw this at you. Katya, please tell everybody who you are, what you do. Go for it.
Okay. I am just a gal who likes to lift heavy stuff, and conveniently made that my job because I used to do commercial construction. I'm an engineer by education, but I have found that doing something more along the health related things is more of my passion, and it doesn't feel like work to me. I would train girlfriends in college, after college, just take all my friends to the gym, hang out with them there, and it felt amazing. So at one moment it clicked, like, oh, if I am willing to do this for free, I may as well make this my job and charge money for it, and actually invest into learning more about health and nutrition and fitness and bodybuilding and powerlifting. So that led me to competing. I started with bodybuilding, won 7 awards in NPC and OCB, which is the tested and untested bodybuilding federation. And I was going to do 4 shows, but since I did pretty well in the first 2, I was like, cool, let's start getting ready for the next season. And then I was getting ready for figure in the next season, which is I did bikini first, and then figure is one federation, or sorry, one like class larger. It's a little leaner and a little more muscle. So I was really excited getting ready for that. And my coach actually was a Russian powerlifter. So we were training, and we were training kind of powerlifting based with bodybuilding accessories. So it was a mixed program. It was really awesome. My results were growing, and then the pandemic hit. When I was 6 weeks out of stage, I already had my suit. I already had everything scheduled, and yeah, then there was March 2020, and I was supposed to compete at the end of that spring and the beginning of summer. So that was frustrating, and I was like, damn, well, if nobody's going to see how lean and beautiful I am on stage, I'm just going to gain a little bit of weight back on and get stronger. And then the pandemic subsided a little bit and some competitions opened up. But I had no desire to spend half a year leaning out. So I competed in powerlifting, got second in the Battle on the Border, USAPL. So that is also a tested powerlifting federation with the strictest rules in the US. That was, I guess, that was fine. But I wanted to win, and I wanted to increase my PRs. So the second meet that I did was in Asheville. Actually, I think a week or 2 weeks before Asheville Vegfest.
Mm-hmm.
So I won that one, my weight class, 69 kilos. And the last one, Virginia Winter Record, I also won. That one was, my total was 387.5 kilos, or 854 pounds. So it's okay. I would like to break 900 and go to the nationals, but maybe we can do that in the spring. We'll see.
Yeah. Sure. So, question for you: what do you mean
Yeah.
by tested and untested?
Yeah, so bodybuilding and powerlifting federations are vary in terms of the rules, and some of them do drug test for anabolic steroids, for non-steroid performance-enhancing drugs such as SARMs, and for a bunch of other things that can enhance your performance. And others do not. So you can pick and choose however you like to compete, because some athletes, reach a ceiling of their PRs, and when they want to break it, it's really hard to do naturally. So some of them supplement. Some of them supplement for other reasons. Like some people are prescribed HRT, for example, by their doctor. It's not the worst thing in the world. There's nothing wrong with supplementing if that's what you want to do. If that's, your job, your passion, your livelihood. I highly disapprove when people barely get into training and know how to do anything and start taking drugs right away. Like it doesn't seem smart to me. But yeah, so I compete in the tested federation that tests for everything. So I get tested every time I win, or every time I'm like, close to it, or you also get tested randomly. So there's that.
Wow, that's wild. So, are you saying that in the untested, that there could be people who are on steroids?
In the untested, yeah, absolutely. But steroids are also not the worst thing, Helene. There's other drugs that could wreck your system a lot more, such as like SARMs. They essentially just grow everything from your muscle to your insides, which is why a lot of competitors, you see like their bulging stomachs, and they grow their noses and ears, and for women, they change the voice and grow the genitals. It's not the nicest thing, and if you do this for a long time, this could wreck your system way more than some steroids. So be careful.
Okay. I didn't know that there were competitions where they didn't test, where
Oh
because
yeah, absolutely.
that's
Olympia doesn't test. I think some of the biggest powerlifting competitions that are not USAPL, yeah, they don't test.
I, so one of the big things when it comes to vegans and being bodybuilders, powerlifters, whatever they're doing, is how do you get those muscles
Oh, yeah.
without without actually taking some of these drugs. Like you can't do that on just vegan protein. I mean that's I've said a lot. I'm sure you've heard it a lot. I know you
I've
have.
heard it a lot.
And how I didn't know that there was a side to the competition that now my hope is that all the vegan athletes that we know who are bodybuilding and powerlifting are actually doing the tested side and not the untested side, just to validate that I am doing this by eating plant-based foods.
That's I hope so too, and I think most vegans are natural, but there's no way to check if people don't compete. So people lie all the time, and it's sad, but that's the truth. Like during the pandemic, people, from tested and non-tested federations grew their results so much. Like they had to increase the qualifying totals for the nationals. So they increased them every year, but during the pandemic, just something crazy happened to people. So whoever had the garage gym, and because nobody was getting out and getting tested at the competitions, I mean, I feel like some people, potentially could have used that time because I think you have to be clean for like 9 months or something to compete in a tested. So technically, you could juice before and then go on the platform. But yeah, how do you get your muscles without that? Progressive overload, appropriate bodybuilding or powerlifting programming, appropriate recovery, taking care of your body in terms of mobility, stability of your joints. And there does need to be some cognitive restraint. So, in a way of either caloric restriction if you are competing bodybuilding, or say all you want to eat is pizza and Coca-Cola and fries, and you got to make gains. So you got to consume enough protein, you got to consume enough whole foods to actually help the body perform at the most optimal level. So those are the key five.
Yeah, that's I'm still caught on the I mean, I know that like Tori Washington, he's been vegan for a very long time
Yes.
and he's people don't believe that he is that body. Go look
Okay.
him up. He's
I
like,
forgot. I forgot to add one very important factor, that is genetics. So if you look at everybody in your family, and I don't know, they're say pear-shaped people, right? They store fat in their hips, or maybe in their stomach, or they're all just super lean and athletic without really ever doing anything or touching the weight in their life. That affects how you are going to look when you train, when you don't train, when you age. So look at your mom and dad, your grandpa, your grandma, when they were younger. Look at how they appear to be. So you can kind of judge if everybody was obese. Yeah, probably you will lean towards that side. It will be harder for you to get lean, right? And there's not only genetics that plays in that, right? There's also tradition, where you live, whether you're privileged or not. But genetics it still plays a huge role. We can't negate that. So maybe Tori, on top of being super optimal with his nutrition exercise, maybe he also has better genetics that than you and I. Who knows? Um,
my
I
dogs are
feel.
going crazy. That's why I was like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, it's all right. I was like, oh, there they are. They're being dogs. They're the door's open. They're barking. So, and I think probably UPS or something's here. So like, so somebody wants to, obviously Aaron Fergus has been on, and she's just
Nice.
bodybuilding. And whew, I mean, have you seen her lately? She's like, whoa. So, and
Yeah,
I know how hard it is, because that is, she doesn't feel like she's restricting herself, because she's got that goal, that end goal of the competition, and being, and winning, and just getting on stage, and doing her thing. And she, during COVID, she's continued to train, and like, wow, and did that from like at home without going
right.
to a gym. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
that was
remarkable.
impressive. I couldn't do that because I was powerlifting at the time.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to put it in your house, and have all that, and that's not cheap. And you've brought something up that I think is really interesting, and let everyone knows, if you have any questions or comments, put them into the little box. We'll definitely
Yes,
address
please
them.
write your
And
questions.
you know, a really good point that you just brought up is privilege. To have the setup at home to maintain and do what you do, it's not it's not inexpensive. To have a gym membership, to have access to the tools, I'm gonna say, but the weights that you need, because you post a lot of videos of you doing what you do, which is like
Right.
remarkable. It's really fun for me to watch, because I mean, I've watched you like post stuff and then come back to like the house when we were traveling, and it was like arch back and up. It's
Yeah.
and and you've shown us your videos, and it's if without when we just brought them back and showed us before you even posted them, which is really cool. But there is an element of privilege to this.
Yeah, and
So
I would say I do feel very privileged in being able to do the sport. Did not have any equipment to sustain powerlifting during the beginning of the pandemic. Unfortunately, I was living in an apartment and I had some weights at home, but all the equipment was sold immediately, right? People just bought it. There was just none on the market. It wasn't like for the high price. It was just not available. It was all sold out. So in order to do bodybuilding, you can train from home like Erin did. It is insanely difficult. So I haven't seen a lot of people to do what she did, and that's just truly amazing to see that she was able to train from home and still lean out and still do her progressive overload, her cardio, and her strength training. Powerlifting cannot really do from home unless you have a barbell, a power rack, and a bench, because that's what the sport entails, right? Is squat, bench, deadlift. Those three exercises are what you do on the platform. So at home, like I would, during the pandemic, I would write my clients, obviously, the programs with what they have. So, I mean, they even used their kids, their pets. They would fill a huge bag with books. Um, and I would program the weirdest exercises for them to keep their gains. And most of them who stuck through it kept their gains. Like I'm doing an interview with one of my clients, Jack, who um, he's an amazing powerlifter. We went to Duke together. He's a really chill guy though, so he didn't freak out. And during the pandemic, he just put his head down, and trained from the house. So his workouts include some plyometrics, so some explosive jumps, some single legs, so single arms things. Have if you are doing a squat and that's too easy for you, you can do a single-legged squat. Check that out. How many of you can do a pistol squat? Get a pull-up bar. Pull-up bars are really cheap, right? Do all kinds of pull-up variations. You will add size and you will add strength in your back. It is harder to do cardio at the house, right? But you can do a cardio if you have like an elevator amount of space. Yeah, you can get a killer cardio session. I have no problem writing those routines for folks who did not go to the gym during the pandemic, and some still don't. But then it comes to your dedication. It comes to, are you really going to stick through it? Because it's not as fun. It's really hard to actually make yourself work, eat, work out, do all the other things in the same space. So are you really going to do it? Do you have what it takes? That's what it comes to.
yeah, it's interesting, because I haven't gone back to the gym. I went to the gym once since COVID, and got Allison just said, "Go Katya." It told my life. Thank you, Allison. That's awesome.
Thanks, Allison.
I mean, so it is harder. I like to be in the pool and the hot tub. I miss them, but with COVID, I haven't done that. But you also know that I bought a treadmill, and I do my stuff at home, which when I'm home, it's much easier to do that. But your workouts, yeah, just so everybody knows, I've started training with Katya, full disclosure, and day 3, I think workout 3, I pulled a hamstring. And I'm 95% better. 98, 95, 90% better today. And it's less than a week, which is a great thing because I figured I would heal relatively quickly by not pushing myself. I looked it up. I could still walk on the treadmill, which was
Right.
great, slower pace. But I didn't take it seriously initially, a very short period of time. And we figured out what it was. And then
Hmm.
I looked it up and I went, oh, if I don't take this seriously, I get into like really hurt. And that's not okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. You're just a very type A person. So I noticed a lot of people who are really dedicated, they jump in and they just do everything that their coach wrote, to the T. Like, oh yeah, coach knows, like trust the process. They eat how we say, they train how we say, they rest how we say. But the thing is, you got to factor all of those things on top of what your body can and cannot do that day. Maybe you slept poorly, maybe your hamstrings were a little too tight. Like, who the hell knows? But
Yeah,
it's
it was number 51. And not rows, twice sets of 20, just so you know, but it was number 51. And on the last leg, literally the last leg of 60. I did stop. I mean, I should have stopped probably about 3 sooner, but when the pain started, I should have stopped. But I thought it was just, pain is something that sometimes you can work through, and
yeah,
sometimes you really need to stop and be like,
yeah,
evaluate and go, no. And I thought initially, like, oh, this is just, I just pulled it a little, But
right.
I realized after like I did 3 more that I was like, yo, no. I was like, I'll just put down I did 60. I was
We live, we learn.
I know. And I mean, I'm so grateful because Steve and I talked about it, and he was like, well, you eat healthy. You were not in terrible shape to start. So I think that's the big part of this. And that he's like, you'll probably heal really quickly. And I'm so thankful because I have in less than a week, to I mean, I ran up the stairs today. I was like, yes. So that's a big deal. I mean, but it's not easy. I mean, you were like, "Oh, the harder stuff's coming," and I hate lunges. So, I mean, my quads, right? My quads, right in front.
Quads are on the front, hamstrings are on the back.
Yeah, the quad. Yeah, after those lunges, man. I mean, I already knew I hated them, but I was like, I really hate these, like, because my quads were fucking burning, and like I was like, yeah, and that took days. I mean, I was okay the next day, but it was like day 3 and 4 where I was like, oh,
Yes. So the worst of delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, kicks in about 48 to 72 hours after you're lifting. So that's 2 to 3 days. The second day is always the worst. So if you're working out, the first day post is like, oh, I feel the soreness. If you feel the soreness the first day after the workout, the second day, you're really going to feel it. And there are ways to avoid it or to avoid the worst out of it. Foam roll, stretch lightly after your workout, not before the workout. I beg people, if you think stretching before the workout is a good idea, you will increase the probability of pulling a muscle and actually overexerting yourself. So do not do that. Stretching is post workout if you do strength train. This is not yoga. This is
well, you
some
still warm up in yoga. There's an analogy I think from a long time ago about a cold muscle, right? It's like a piece of spaghetti. A cold muscle is a raw piece of spaghetti that will just snap because it's not warm. But if you cook the spaghetti, it becomes more pliable. And then when you bend it, it bends better. So you need to warm up your body. Even in yoga, you warm up your body before you start doing down dogs, or you start with a down dog and you move
yeah,
into it slowly.
you can do that for sure. But warming up is different from stretching. So
Right.
if you overcook your spaghetti, then it just falls apart and then you can't you can't squat with that spaghetti. Okay.
I mean, that's for the stretch. That's in a stretching analogy. It's you have to be warm to even get to the point where you need to work out and then you stretch because you've worked out, but you need to warm up before you do anything because you risk damage. And that warm up could be like a 5-minute walk on the treadmill.
Yes,
And
light cardio
you're
is
like
great.
your
Joint
thing with your
gymnastics is
head and
great.
all that stuff. Yeah, that you have to be doing head, neck, shoulders, back,
Yes, I
arms. Yeah.
recommend, yes, that joint gymnastics. So you just
Yep.
literally rotate all your joints from head to uh
Toe.
upper body, lower body. We're not working out here. Sorry.
Right. No, it's okay. It's important because those people, these are little things that people, that's how they get hurt, is that they just kind of like, oh, let me like stretch my legs out before I like do anything. Mm.
Actually, I'll give you two number one reasons how people get hurt in the gym. Number one is being in the gym, but not actually doing the exercise and doing some other stuff, touching the weights. So when you're like loading the bar, so you're putting like a 45-pound barbell onto the bar, but you don't think about it as picking it up like a deadlift, right? So you pick it up with curly back, just you're fully relaxed, and then it's heavy. So over time that adds up, not really good. And then number two is also not just paying attention while you are in the area with heavy weights. So you can walk into stuff backing up, walking backwards. Never walk backwards. Be aware of your freaking surroundings. Okay, turn around and then walk. It's not that hard, right? Walking into machines, putting their fingers into places that jam. So careful, don't do that. Actually, yeah, I don't know a lot of people, I mean, my clients and people just working out overall who train seriously and get hurt doing something during the workout. It's always in between exercises.
That's awesome. Actually, that's who would have thought? These are the things that you learn. And I mean, most people get you think the people you hear about, they get hurt because they actually, they fell off the treadmill or something. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent. So, Katya, there are questions that you get asked,
Okay.
right? I mean, people ask you questions about working with you, how to build muscle,
Right.
and obviously protein, the stupid protein question. So let's talk
We
about
can
that.
talk about that. Yes. Okay. So working with me, I'm sorry, I didn't talk about that in the introduction. In order to work with me, you need to schedule a consultation, and then we chat, and I figure out if I like you, if you're sane, you figure out if you like me, and I'm a good fit for you, and then we shake hands and start a training. So essentially, I have an app that's called Total Body Lab. It is a private app, so you can't just Google it and download it. I'll have to invite you, and only my clients are there. So we build custom workouts for the clients that are in their calendar, and they do this whenever they have time. They schedule them themselves. Or if they have a more rigorous powerlifting program, for example, and they're about to compete, then it will be more, how do I say, more structured. As in, this is what you do this day, this day, this day, this is how much you rest, this is how much you eat. I see everything. I see how much you weigh. I see your photos. So yeah, when people start, I get all this data, and then I write the initial program. And people also got to understand, the ones who come in and then expect like, oh, I bought a month. I just cannot wait to see my results after a month. It's like machine learning, except I'm not a machine. I'm human. I hope I learn a little faster. Yet. I give you something. I give you a program that I think is a good fit based on your assessment, and then you start training, and then I make tweaks every week depending on how you do. I can't guess what like perfectly 100% was going to be a good fit. So the longer you train with me or one of our coaches, the better we learn how your body responds, how your psychology plays into it, right? If you see like a long ass workout, you could be like, well, swipe notifications clean. I'm not doing that today. Or if you're like, oh, cool, everything has a video and instructions. I'm going to read every single line and add you a lot of comments so you coaches read it and really like get it. So some people do that, right? It really depends. So the more we work out, the better we learn each other, and the more tailored your program will be towards optimizing your success, which is our goal and hopefully your goal. So anyways, folks who come in and expect like some magic after a month or a couple of weeks, I would say come back to earth. There's not a significant progress that you can make within 4 weeks. I would probably say at least a couple months of coaching would bring you optimal results. And that is just across the board for vegans, non-vegans, everybody.
Yeah, it's a lot of people feel like, let me just like get to this point. Let me get to the point where I can lift this. Let me get to this weight. Let me, get to the point where I can do a push up or five of them or whatever it is, whatever your goal is that you set for yourself. The problem is that you have to actually either maintain that goal or keep moving forward. And you can't get to that goal, do your five push ups, and then do nothing from that point forward because guess what happens in like a month? You can't do your five push ups.
Well, push-ups is probably not the worst thing to get to that you'll be able to keep because muscle memory works the way that if you were lifting years ago, right? Say you were an athlete and then you just became a potato, a couch potato, and you did nothing for a couple of years, you'll be able to regain that strength back pretty quickly if you get back to the gym. But if you haven't done anything ever in your life, right, getting to the point to be able to do push-ups, pull-ups, handstands, whatever you want, is a lot longer, and maintaining that may, also be more energy intensive. My worst nightmare is when clients have their goal weight or their goal look, because the goal skill is easier to keep. If you learn how to do a push-up, okay, you do a couple push-ups every couple days and you keep that. Cool. You can totally keep that. Body weight is not something you can keep with such an easy maintenance because some people, like I said, genetically tend to be larger, some tend to be skinnier. If you're a skinny person, I empathize you a lot. It is a lot harder for you to gain muscle than for bigger people to lose fat. It's a nightmare, honestly. Putting muscle on skinny guys and girls is so hard. And then keeping that muscle for them is so hard, right? So once you have that, it's not like, oh, you graduate from college, hang that diploma on the wall, stare at it. No. Then when you get to that, if you don't make life changes, you will not keep that weight, whether that is being smaller, being larger, or being whatever the look you want. This is legit. Like you signed up for daily work or weekly work in terms of nutrition and exercise. And if you do not make habits that kind of absorb that, it's going to be a pain and you're never going to maintain it.
It's hard because even one of the things that Steve and I talked about, because regards to me getting on the treadmill and me doing my miles and like doing my thing that I've been doing for like the past year, is that it's my body's just used to it. Body just got used to doing
Yeah.
this. So I need to do more to put my body back to where I want it to
Usually,
be.
yeah, you need to do more. Yeah. Otherwise, you'll
Yep.
either get bored or kind of lose it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredibly interesting. And I don't know if you know this, but I did a full marathon. So I have that
That's
I
awesome.
understand the muscle memory because I did the
Yeah.
training and then I didn't do anything. And then like 8 months later I picked up and started training again. And I was like, yo. Because when
Yeah.
you first started training, it was like, yo, this is hard. But then the
Right.
second time I was like, this muscle memory thing is awesome. I can walk a half marathon. And the only thing that like, my back is my only
However,
issue. Good.
in the defense of the people who have never trained and then they're getting into it, there is some nice things that they can experience also, such as newbie gains. So newbie gains is when people come to the weight room or they start training at home and they just start progressing like crazy. I mean, they break a PR after a PR after a PR, and they're just getting so strong and doubling their strength until they reach kind of a ceiling, whether that is training for half a year, and then you hit this kind of plateau, and then you grow just a little bit, and then just a little bit in a very long time, where it's very hard, but your results grow very slowly. And that is when you reach your genetic potential, which for different people happens at different times of life. So what is a PR? PR is a personal record,
Yeah.
Allison. Thanks for asking. Sorry, powerlifting lingo. Yeah, so for example, in I think in USAPL and most other federations, they add age to recalculating your Wilks coefficient. That is a coefficient that includes how old you are, how much total weight you have lifted, and how much you weigh yourself, right? If you're a smaller person, you could lift less weight, but also if you're older, they add that in because you can't progress as easily.
Because you're older. That makes sense. I mean, not it does make sense. As you get older, you get older. I mean, anyone who's getting older understands that you're not 20.
You'd be
Your body's
surprised.
body's not the same.
You'd be surprised.
I mean, you want to, you think, you hope.
I have some clients who are older, and they're just wondering, like, yeah, why can't I do like what all these other girls are doing? And I'm like, well, do I really have to say?
As well as nicely as you can be. And that is intentionally said that way because I wouldn't call you like I wouldn't call you a coddler. You definitely aren't. You definitely don't are not like Miss Warm and Fuzzy, but you're a coach, so coaches don't tend to be warm and fuzzy.
Thanks, Helene. I think I tried, but cool. Maybe I need to try harder.
You just you're you know, and I guess it makes sense because if you're too warm and fuzzy, then people will get more complacent. I feel like people will just be
Depends.
like, each person needs something, right? And that's
Right.
why you ask the question of like, what kind of coaching do you want? Do you want, do you want hard ass? Do you want
Yes.
like be nice to me because if you make me cry, I'm just gonna walk away, and everywhere in
And some people
between.
want me to yell at them, and I'm like,
Right?
really? You pay me money for me to yell at you? Like, okay.
You could be a dominatrix. Just get the whip.
Okay. No,
There's a
yeah,
whole
that's
new marketing strategy.
okay.
Yes, I went there. So you'd be perfect.
Okay. Yeah,
Told you
but
this could go anywhere.
that's the reason why when people onboard, every single client has to fill a huge ass list of questions from like, what are you comfortable doing? What are you not comfortable doing? Do you have negative experiences training, working out? Which some people do. Like some people, their coaches, like on athletic teams in college, they would like yell at them. And like I have a Russian friend, she was hit by a coach. Like they would just hit all of the girls on their team to, I don't know, motivate. It was messed up. Anyways, so yeah, so if there's trauma, if there's eating disorders that are in your head, right, in psychology, and how you would like to be coached, because some people like kind of like some tough love, and some people want for me to cuddle them. And I feel like I do. I feel like I am pretty empathetic, and I've learned over the years to be softer to the people who need it, because some people, I mean, if I make them feel bad about missing one workout out of 5 during the week, they just feel like they've ruined everything, they're gonna throw the
Right.
towel, it's all pointless. But that is not true. One
Right.
workout a week is better than 0, and 2 workouts is better than 1, right? And tracking your food every once in a couple of days is better than not. And giving your coach some of your weight data is better than not. So nobody's perfect. That's okay. That's my mantra right now.
No, it's true. It's 100% true. I mean, that's why you have your questionnaire and you learn. You have to feel each other out, and it's not easy. You're trying to hold people accountable to do something that's for their own benefit. 'Cause it's
Right.
not your benefit. Yes, you get paid because that does help you, but really, this plan that you put together is so that you have success and you as the people that work with you, right? Not you, gosh,
We
your
as a
success.
team.
Yeah, yeah, so that's and and the most I feel like the most important thing that people need to really understand is that it takes work.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not
it
there's
takes
no
work.
magic pill. It is not like you said, a month that you'll be like, "Oh, look how thin I am. Look at my muscles." It's like, yeah, maybe you'll have the start of them, but no. Like, show your muscle, show your arm. I'm
Oh
gonna
god,
show
really?
off.
I mean,
It
I'm not pumped right now, but
so
sure.
that's I mean, but that's not going to happen in a month unless someone came to you with, like, someone who came to you like you and just kind of
Oh
fell off
no,
the
this is
wagon.
years of work.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just it takes time. And then it takes consistency and then it takes following through and continuing to do it. And And it's easy it's so easy to just fall off that wagon, like, so easy,
Yeah.
and it does and you work so hard for and I'm talking for my personal self, you work so hard, and then you literally fuck it up for a couple of months, and then you have to start, like, almost start all over again, and it's the most annoying thing on the planet. So
If
just
you look
keep
at it that
going.
way, I don't think it is. Like sometimes I would go on vacation and not work out. Usually I do, but sometimes I'd be like, couple weeks are gonna kill me. And then I get back into the gym, like, oh my gosh, this is what squats feel like.
Right.
Wow. So
Is exactly, and yes, people wanna go on vacation and they don't wanna work out on them, and the thing was, I was working out on my vacations, and I didn't when we went away in August. I started not doing it, and that was my personal downfall. When I came home, I went back to what I was doing, but I also increased what I was eating, and that just spiraled into my body just kinda stepped back, and I've been trying to get back going forward since, and, we've been mucho busy. Mucho busy not being home, not cooking as much. All these things factor in. Cooking for yourself as opposed to eating out, and the eating out involves, like, not just food, involves, like, desserts and cakes and cookies, like, all the because 'cause we've been in so many cities that have amazing food. Just so you know, Katya is part of, like, the Triangle Vegfest traveling team where we go to all these cities and we bring vegan festivals, and we have we eat well. We did cook. We did have houses with ovens and refrigerators and stuff like that, but at the same time, we're busy. We're active on event days. We're not as active as we could be as we're leading up to these. But
I'll
I
speak for
mean,
yourself.
yeah, it's true. Katya always got to. Katya did all her workouts.
I did.
Like, and the 3-week trip that we did, I walked and did my stuff on that trip too, but the
You
August
also
one,
did. You did
yeah.
great. You did every evening, and I still went to the gyms and found the
Yep.
gyms, and I competed and won 2 weeks or 3 weeks after that.
Ex
that we
ex
we came back.
exactly, we watched that. You can watch these competitions, it was pretty cool. We fast forwarded to find you. I was like streaming on the phone. I was like, there she is." There she is again." And Steven and I were watching on my phone, and I was like, "Up, up, watch." And we was like he was cheering you on. He was like, "Come on, Katya, come on."
Oh,
Because
really? You were watching the live?
we weren't watching the live, we watched it on the replay, and we fast forwarded. So I didn't know what happened. We watched. No, it's because you're easy to find, because the blue hair. So we just kinda, like, fast forwarded on the phone, and then it was like, found you, and then, like, we were
That's
watching. Of
awesome.
course, like, it was the deadlift, right? Where you did the first one, but then the next 2. So when it was the second one, Steven was, like, next to me going, "Come on, Katya, come on." So, as if it doesn't matter it wasn't live, still you had us in our home here in North Carolina cheering you on even though it was over. So
Went to so many homes. Yes.
yeah, and then I, like, went back to your social to be like, "What happened?" And you're like, "I won." And I was like, "Oh." I mean, 800 plus pounds, man. People understand that it wasn't 800 pounds. It wasn't at once, it was a cumulative total, right?
That's total from squat, bench, and deadlift. Yeah.
That's like that's that's a lot.
It's all right.
It's okay. I know you want to break 900, but still, that's pretty freaking awesome.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I mean, I
That's
also have a good coach. My coach is a world champion powerlifter, so that is kind of his credit to Alexei. To the imaginary you. I know you're not listening right now because you're in Russia and you're asleep, but
right.
thank you, dear coach. He's been with me for I think like a year and a half now. Yeah. And if you think I'm a strict coach, go train with Alexei.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard. So
We
he is
train together. We work together to guide powerlifting people. He more takes care of the powerlifters and the boys. I take care of the vegans and the girls and some of the bodybuilders. And then we also have uh, 4 more coaches on the team who do take care of different specialties, some PT, some calisthenics, some basic home training programs. So yeah, but I feel like Alexi is the hardest one for sure.
right, right. So there we go. Put the website up so people can go check it out.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I need to
Mhm.
update the records. Haven't updated my records yet, and I haven't updated Alexi's because he just won the national championship in Russia, and I think he's about to go win Europe and the world, or I think that's the plan for this
Oh,
year.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really- So you've created something.
I have created something, yes.
Yes, I mean, obviously, lots of things, lots of people you probably created, but you've actually created a powerlifting guide.
Yes, that is something that I started working on when we were on the Vegfest tour. And I'm very proud of this. Usually, if I would write like an article or a blog, it's however many words or 2 pages. This thing is 18 pages. It has everything you need to know about powerlifting as a vegan. So you can actually get it for free. This is our Thanksgiving Christmas present to everybody. And you can get it either by direct messaging me because I'm literally about to upload this on the website, or I gave Helene the link to the drive that you could just use to download the thing. And it includes vegan equipment for powerlifting, nutrition tips, strength training programming tips, recovery methods, supplementation, and mentality. So it includes a lot of things. It took me a while to write this thing. So if you get it, please give me some feedback on what you think. I would really love to hear that from you. Share it with a friend who's thinking about doing strength training or powerlifting. It could even be helpful for bodybuilders because a lot of the equipment is the same. Just for people who are serious about their strength goals, men, women, vegans. I don't
That's awesome. Yeah, I put the link in the comments so you can easily go and click that and review it and do it or share it with people that are interested. Whatever you need to do. Katya did spend a lot of time working on this because we went away in October and it's almost December. So definitely check it out. And of course, if like you are interested in getting fit, losing some weight, bodybuilding, powerlifting, whatever it is, you just want to coach, you want to be held accountable for what you're doing. You want someone to show you like what to do, as opposed to a lot of people are lost. They're lost at like, where do I start? How do I do this? Some people like the feeling of their quads burning. So, and then not being able to walk for days. But here's okay. So yes, I'm saying that my quads were burning because of the lunges. Like I was good outside of like those lunges. But the thing I know about the fact that why they're burning is that they're getting stronger. They
Yes.
wouldn't get stronger if they weren't burning. If they didn't hurt, it means they weren't working. And you need to work them in order to build and grow them. And I'm not looking to power lift or bodybuild or anything like that. I just
We'll
like
see
the
about
idea
that.
of no, I'm just looking I'm just like more interested in just in getting into better shape because it really helps when you walk, 25,000 plus steps at an event in a day to come out of that and be like, okay, I can keep walking because I'm okay. And that's the difference between like the 2020, 2021 doing Veg Fest and the 2019 and previous Veg Fest. My feet would hurt. I would, I would have to like, I need to sit down. Like afterwards, if it would just, I'd be a wreck and I'm not a wreck anymore. So it's just taking it from that step and going further than because and aging, you don't let me forget about the aging process because you
Yeah.
want to when you're 70, which is less than 20 years for me, when you're 70 you want to be able to still walk and lift and sit and not get crunchy, and you want to be able to just do because 70 is not old anymore.
No.
So but it is
Or
if you don't take care of
it is
yourself at
old
50.
if you do nothing, it will be
Right.
old for you.
Right. That's really important because we are living longer as a society, as humans. And man, if you're at like 50 something years old and you're like sitting in bed and just tired, like you end your days and you're just exhausted and all you've done is work and eat, then you need to put in yourself into that, factor yourself into there and do something more for you because you at 70, like, don't you want to travel? Don't you want to be able to? I mean, if you have kids and they have grandkids, you want to like be able to lift that child or like play with that child at 70. I mean, these are you don't think about this when you're 20 or 30, But when you're 50, you think about these things.
I feel like
You,
I grew up thinking about these things. No?
I have a lot of people, it's not their, I get what you're saying because me too. But most people don't. They don't think about this stuff. They think about like now. I can do this now. I don't have to worry about 70. 70 is 40 years away. 40 years is a long time, but 40 years goes by like in a snap of a finger. So, and suddenly you get more complacent as you get older. Here's Susan. Oh, here we go. Susan said a couple of things. Strong legs help your back too. Yes. And let's see, 70 is definitely not old if you stay moving. Yeah, coming from somebody who's in her 70s. Susan's amazing. You know, she's part of our team.
I should
She was,
invite Susan to do this talk with you.
yeah, that's true. Susan, come on.
We
Yeah,
could
we
all
should
learn
have,
a lot from her because, yeah, Susan's a badass. And in terms
yes.
of aging, it's so I'm going to say a couple of things. When you start training at first, especially if you're like younger, you get the beginner gains and you kind of can get addicted to progress. And that is really toxic because if you remember that feeling, right? Now you start training at like 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever, your progress will probably be slower. Or sometimes you could just put in a lot of effort and just maintain your strength and your health, right? Because time works against us all. And people would just be so frustrated. Like women would still be like on Instagram or whatever social media, be like, look, all of these other ladies who are as old as I am, like they're 50 and they look perfect. But you don't know what goes into that, right? Celebrities have literally teams of chefs and massage therapists and physical procedures done to their bodies to maintain that look. As far as I know, I don't have a team of people just taking care of how my ass looks, or at least not yet. Uh, Maybe when I'm old and rich, that will happen, but I doubt this is a productive way to spend money. Anyways, if you get addicted to progress at any age, this destroys you. So I would probably just recommend kind of being real and looking at people who are about similar body type as you, similar age as you, and not necessarily comparing yourself to them, but kind of seeing like, oh, like this is realistic, right? Like it is probably not realistic if I'm 100 years old and I'm trying to like learn a handstand in a couple of months. Probably not, right? So gauge your goals, and even though yeah you're going to try to stay active and have some progress, your progress can just be not feeling pain anymore, right? Or being more mobile, or being able to squat to the ground without your knees cracking, things like that. So that could be very different for different people. And one more thing, as we age, if we do not train, our body kind of eats away muscle and replaces that with fat, so you can weigh the same but look bigger, look worse in your clothing, and then just be like absolutely shocked, like what happened? Nothing changed. I didn't change my nutrition. um I am supposed to stay the same, but not really. Without strength training, your body just dissipates the muscle that it does not need because it is an energy intensive tissue. It requires oxygen to be supplied to it by blood. It is heavier, 3 times heavier than fat. Your body doesn't want to carry all this muscle around. If it doesn't have anything to do with it, right? If you don't make your body work out with it, it's going to get rid of it. And if it gets rid of it, you will be weaker later on. So you don't want that. Stay active.
Yeah. Every day. 20 minutes a day. I mean, you're not talking about, I mean, just for
Every other
someone,
day.
for how long?
I said, every other day.
Even
I
every other,
train every other day.
I mean, as we've talked about this, I refuse to not do my stuff every day.
I
And
know.
and that's dude, Katya will yell at me, but that's okay because I said this is what I love to do. And I've I've made it part of me. And
Yeah.
to not do that, that's why I mean, I pulled a hamstring, I still got on my treadmill. I was like, my treadmill, which I didn't go as fast and I didn't run.
Hmm.
I walked at the pace that I felt okay walking. I was limping a little to start, but I like I because I was like, I can't not do something. I you know, keep everything
Yes, I know.
greased and moving. And I think that's why I've healed so quickly from
It
my
could
pulled
be
hamstring.
one of the reasons. I would recommend that people see doctors first before they decide whether they should hop on the treadmill to feel better or not, or do some self-healing, some, stretching and mobility without really knowing what that does. Talk to a PT, please. Don't experiment by yourself. You may get lucky, or you may actually worsen your condition.
I
I've done
did
that
actually.
before.
I used the internet. I used the internet
The
to.
Google doctor.
I did.
Good.
I found what I wanted. I found it.
Good.
It's
I'm
okay
happy
to
for
get on the
you.
treadmill. It's okay to walk with a pulled hamstring. I found that information. I did. That's why. That's the only reason I
If
did
I
it.
hurt myself, I freaking stay in bed until that thing heals. Because you know what? If the tissue is aggravated, putting more stress and supplying it with more blood can increase your inflammation. So
I did. I rested more than I
good.
had. So it's the but yeah. And I think you know me well enough to know that I wouldn't push myself to the point where I would hurt
Yep.
myself.
Which is why I'm going to write you easier workouts. Noted.
So if you want to know what it was that pulled my hamstring, what are they called? Lift ups? What are they called?
Step ups.
Step ups. It was so I'm home doing this and Katya's got this stuff to do. So I was like, okay, I have to do these step ups. I don't have anything to step up. So I started looking around the upstairs and I was like, I got a paint can like the big one, the big bucket, right? The white bucket, like, because we painted our ceiling. And I was like, okay, this works. This looks like the right height. And I was like, and that's what I used because I was like, I to figure out like what I have because I'm not in a gym. Like you said, you figure out what's around you and you utilize that. So this was my step up. And like I said, my right leg was good. So it was on step ups that I pulled a hamstring. And and it was like the third it was the I think you had me do 4 things that day in the set, and it ended with 20 on each leg of the step ups
Yeah.
in the 3 sets, and it was the 3rd set of the
Yeah.
last leg
Yeah.
that
Almost done. Yeah.
almost done, and I still did the rest of it. I still did the rest of the stretching and the other things, what I could do. 'Cause
Right.
some things I don't have in the house to even do. So I was like, I'll just do what I can, and then I haven't done a workout with you since because I pulled a hamstring, but I'm
That-
close. Next week, I'll do them in Vegas. I'll bring the bands.
nice. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
Helene actually got home workout equipment that is not the bucket, that is portable. So it includes 2 bands, one long one and one short one. And most of my clients who either train at home or travel, they just use the bands that replaces the whole gym. So if you're not a super advanced lifter, if you're a beginner lifter, if you're an intermediate lifter, there's an insane amount of exercise that you can do with your body weight or just 2 bands. Like that's it. It fits in your purse. Do not tell me you cannot work out when you travel because you don't have the equipment. Because you don't want to? Yes. Because you don't have time? Yes. Because you're tired? Yes. But not because the equipment is unavailable or something else is unavailable. Just say it like it is. I really hate when people bring these bullshit excuses that like, oh, you know, I can't find the gym. Your hotel is your gym. You're fine.
Oh, yeah, I don't go to the hotel gym. I use the treadmill and the and elliptical in the gym, and it's that's just, what that's awesome when we stay at hotels because I have like my normal routine. Well, as you know, in October I brought my Wii. So I brought that too. And now I have the bands. So I'll definitely bring them. It's light enough to put into the suitcase.
Yep.
And you know what? Well, I'll probably still in Manhattan. We can do it in the hotel room.
Oh, hell
So
yeah.
yeah,
Nice. I'm going to the gym when we are at the Vegfest Expo. Not the Vegfest. What is it called?
the Plant-Based World Expo.
Plant-based. Yeah. When we're at the World Expo, I'm going to find an actual gym and just knock myself out with all of the fabulous equipment they're going to have there. I'm so excited. Finding new gyms is one of my favorite things when traveling. It's like going to a candy store for women. I don't know, going shopping. Like, gym, new equipment. Yes. It's
That's
so great.
awesome. So obviously we're doing a little traveling. So I'll be in Vegas next week and and then we come home and we fly to New York City. Katya is joining us so we can go to the, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to the Plant-Based World Expo at the Javits Center from the 9th of December to the 11th of December. And it's about 250 different plant-based vendors, which is a big deal because we get to meet 250 plant-based vendors and we get to go live and hopefully recruit some. Some of them we know already because our vendors are going to be there, like Vegkey, which is really cool. So a few others are going to be there as well. I can't remember the others, but I do know they are there. And Vegkey pops out because Thomas and I talk a lot. And yeah, Susan says, yay. Yes. Awesome. And the hope is to get some sponsors. The hope is to get, we have a lot of festivals now. We took on Atlanta, which is now called Georgia Vegfest. So we have
Oh,
expanded to Georgia.
hell yeah. Out of another state. Nice. Nice work.
Another state. Yep. Pretty awesome. So that's the goal. We have a lot of reach. And part of that reach is for me to say, hey, you need to work with Katya. You need to go to Total Body Lab. You need to, if it that's part of the give and take. That's part of the support. She sponsors the events. She's there to talk with you at the events. And just, full disclosure, we had a rough start. There's some outside forces played in that rough start, but we got it together. You can't spend like 19 days with somebody. Well, you can. You spend 19 days with somebody, you're either going to come out on the other side loving or hating them. We came out loving one another. Very thankful for that, which is another thing to thankful for.
Yeah,
And
me too.
became part of the vegans too, which is fantastic too. So, Katya,
Yes.
how do people get in touch with you? How do you become their trainer? How do you tell us all?
So, with the website you put in the comments, it's totalbodylab.com. You can go there, read some information, or not read any information, and just scroll to the bottom. And at the bottom, there is a consultation that is free. So you just schedule a free consultation, and we meet on the phone or on Zoom and figure out if we're a good fit. You can tell me about your goals, what you've tried, what you haven't tried, what hasn't worked for you, what you like, what you hate, and I will kind of identify if I would like to take you on Total Body Lab team. If not, I will just suggest you some resources, refer you out to the other coaches that I know, because we don't take everybody. If you're a keto person, probably a waste of your time to reach out to me. Sorry. I do train vegans, vegetarians, omnivores. You're pretty much almost anybody except for people who only eat meat, because I don't really find that productive. But even those folks could get exercise training from us, right? From my team and I, because we have we have 6 coaches now, and not all of us are vegan. We all vary in our training style, so we'll probably find somebody on the team that is the right fit for you if that is not me. So you can reach out to me on Total Body Lab on Instagram, but the only way to get coaching with me is I'll have to interview you. I don't take random people. There's no way to just go to the website and click buy of whatever the program, because I'll have to actually see if I want to work with you. So we're a little selective, but we have a small cozy team. Each coach usually has 5 to 10 people, so we're not overloaded. There's not hundreds and hundreds of people. All programs are custom, and you'll have to communicate with us, and we will communicate with you and bring you the best results that we can.
Exactly, but you still have to do the work.
Oh yeah, I'm the tool. You do the work.
Exactly. She just tells you what to do. You just have to do it within reason.
But then you also get to watch me do the work and be like, oh, she did the work. Check the
Yeah.
Instagram story. She did everything. Damn, I have to
And
do it.
you definitely do the work. There's
That's right.
no doubt. I mean, I've watched you on a lawn. I've watched you at a gym. I've watched videos. You don't just talk. You walk the walk, and I think that's the most important thing if you're going to have somebody help you with anything like this. And then on top of that, you add the plant-based vegan side as well, and that's fantastic because you know can help people with getting protein. We're over an hour, but that the protein, it is not easy because we're not talking like 40, 50 grams of protein a day. We're talking like 100
Yeah.
plus grams of protein a day.
Oh my God.
I have not come close to 100 grams of protein in a day yet. I think I've gotten, I don't even think I've gotten to 70.
Let's see. No, you haven't, but it's not as hard. Like, for example, here's a can of black lentils for me that was just propping the phone a second ago. And per serving, we got, with just only half a cup serving, we've got 100 calories and 8 grams of protein. So replace your rice with some lentils, right? Replace your um, pasta with lentil pasta or soybean pasta. Instead of nuts, you can have dry roasted edamame. Instead of certain plants that have almost no protein and just water, like iceberg lettuce, you could eat spinach. Spinach has a lot of protein. So does watercress. So do snowshoe peas. Um, there's a ton of vegetables. So you just need to know what to replace, right? Replace vegan cheese with nutritional yeast. Replace your soft fried tofu with firm tofu that you can throw in the air fryer. And it will be unnoticeable for you after making just a couple swaps how much difference that can make in your whole nutrition, your progress, right? Because this compounds, your results compound. So I mean, that's my favorite thing to do for people is I would first check what they eat. And then I would write a meal plan that is kind of similar to what they eat, but with some twists. So it's not like they were eating fries and pizza and drinking cocktails and beer in the evening. And I'd be like, well, here you go, oatmeal in the morning. Um, I don't know, lentils and tofu and broccoli for lunch and soup for dinner. Only tea for drinks. Congratulations. Welcome to the program. Like, no, we don't do that. Like, I've had clients that have put wine every day in their meal plans because they would drink it anyways, right? If I
Right.
write it for them and it doesn't have it, they'd be like, "Well, I'm just gonna have it anyway." So I would account for that in the plan, right? Like this is why you get a coach is, and if your coach is not adaptable to your lifestyle, right? If you feel like your training is disrupting, something's gonna give. So I don't want for the training to be the thing that gives. So I try to be a little more inclusive.
Right. On my meal plan, you have popcorn
I do have popcorn.
as
Yeah.
an option for dinner.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, loaded popcorn with nutritional yeast, salt, stevia, and I forgot what else I put on there. But yeah.
Yeah, I just saw popcorn. I was like, as you know, we typically, well, I typically eat popcorn. Steven doesn't always indulge with me almost daily, which I haven't done because we've with Thanksgiving meals.
Mm.
It's no popcorn in the last like 3 nights, I think.
Oh
But
no.
that's okay because like there's no room for popcorn the last 3 nights.
I
Not
see.
that I've eaten like a ton, but enough eating out, because I mean, the meals were not protein heavy, they were carb heavy because it's Thanksgiving meals, right? So I mean, obviously everything has protein. Just so everybody knows, Katya and I've talked about it. Everything has protein. It doesn't have the protein like, oh, I'll call it protein first. Because that's probably a cute way to say it is like protein first. It has like carbs and protein and fat. Or
Right,
it's carbs, protein, fat, or fat, carbs, protein.
right,
It's
right.
not
Usually that.
protein,
Yes.
protein, 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 carbs,
Right,
fat.
right,
That's the difference. That's why you're saying like air fry tofu as opposed to any lentil pasta, as opposed to white pasta, which is just carbs. Yes, there's probably a little protein in there, but nothing compared to when you have a pasta made out of lentils, because
right,
lentils have more protein than white flour
right.
does. So that's the difference. And that's for me, that's like the swapping out. Like my smoothie went from like 200 something, 280 calories and like 9 grams of protein to like 480 calories with 21 grams of protein in it.
That's a lot of calories.
It's a lot of calories, and I'm not a fan of the calorie part, but to get to the protein side, because I don't do gross tasting smoothies. And I say that with you because I know what your smoothies look like. I know. But it's that's why like It's a big smoothie. You know, I drink a lot. My smoothie is a big deal. It's not a small glass. Like you drink like this much smoothie. I drink like this much smoothie in the morning because
It's
that's my
because
coffee.
I
Yep.
like to chew my food. I don't like to drink my calories. That habit has come from bodybuilding, where you don't get to eat that much. And if I drank my calories, I would just be starving, you
Right.
know. I was already starving. I would be even more starving. So I like voluminous foods. I like a lot of vegetables. I like a lot of volume. I like whole foods
Yep.
and things that I could just fill my stomach with. If I eat like an itty bitty little plate with some vegan cheese, some like, like that's why I eat pretty low fat. Like not all my clients eat low fat. Some of them are, for example, carb sensitive, and they eat more fat. That benefits their goals better. Sure, I'm not carb sensitive. I'm more fat sensitive, so I gain more weight if more fat is in my diet. And I've noticed that. And I'm like, okay, cool. That really works because fat is more dense. So if I eat more fatty foods, I'm hungry anyways. And if I eat more carbs, I'm very happy. It is fantastic. And pairing carbs and protein is actually really nice and easy and filling. So the pro tip for everybody watching this is if you're looking to lose a little bit of weight, you can start focusing. Don't necessarily count your macros, your protein, but start focusing on pairing your protein with your carbs or your protein with your fats, and not carbs with your fats, because cakes and bagels and all of those other chips and delicious things, right? Carbs and fat, that's what makes you gain more weight, because it's so easy to overeat. Those foods are not going to make you gain weight in and of themselves, but if you eat uh, above your maintenance calories, right, above your caloric threshold, yeah, that's going to affect it.
That's really good advice. That's really good advice because I looked at vegan cheese because I never looked at the protein. I looked at the
There's
calories
like zero protein in there.
and the fat, and there's like no protein.
Yeah,
I was like, wait a second. I mean, I'm guessing that the cheese, like I'm talking about the cheese like Violife and stuff like that, because it's coconut based. But
yeah,
like the dairy
starch,
cheese
coconut, yeah.
from Asheville, she's cashew based. So
Yeah,
I know
so vegan
cashews.
cheeses are usually high in fat or high in carbs. My vegan cheese you can find on Total Body Lab blog is made out of golden beets and nutritional yeast, and it's the most delicious vegan cheese that you will eat, but it is 80% protein. So go to the blog, knock yourself out. You're welcome.
Does it taste like dirt? It's beets. That's why I ask.
Beets are delicious. I'm Russian. Beets are the best thing you can eat. They're the most
Borscht.
tastiest, bestest. Yeah, you roast them and they caramelize. They taste amazing.
Okay. I'll try it, but
Don't listen to Helene. She also doesn't eat mushrooms.
I don't. All right, awesome. All right, we could just keep talking because what it's fun when I know the person. So and we have a relationship. Like when Kathy Hester comes on, people like literally like we like gush at one another because I haven't seen her. And we just go back and forth. So, okay, Susan,
See, Susan, she loves beets.
little
Yes,
treats.
beets are amazing. Eat them.
Yeah, I've tasted like twice. I've tasted a beet that I liked. So
You don't have to put beets in there, Helene. You can put carrots. How about that?
thank you.
No problem.
That I've been eating more of. I'm probably turning orange. Actually, I've been eating a lot of carrots. All right, Katya, you're
Yes.
amazing. Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
for
on.
bringing me on.
And this is a really fun conversation,
Yes.
which I knew it would be. So everyone, thank you for your comments, questions, all that. So I'm gonna put Katya back in the green room and close this out. Oh, there we
Thank
go.
you for joining, Allison.
Yeah, thank you, Allison. There we go. There we go. All right, so thank you so much for joining Virtual Vegfest Live. Always fun, especially when I know the person really well who's coming on. Let's see. What oh, thank you, Susan. Ah, yay. So where we at? So next week, Monday, wake up in yoga at 8 a.m. with Kim, and then at 7 p.m. you get fireside chat with Kimberly, all Eastern Standard Times. And then on Wednesday, the vegan stew is on our break week. We'll be back the following week on the 8th. But this week, or next week, you get to see Coach Kayla because she's the first Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is really neat. I, with Virtual Vegfest Live, will be back later in December after I go up a year because my birthday's in December, so I'll be a year older when you see me next on this show. But please follow and support Wake Up and Yoga, Virtual Fireside Chat with Kimberly, and of course the Vegan Stew, which also has a YouTube channel that you can go and subscribe to and put the little notification button so you know when we go live. Go to virtualvetfest.com and enter our contest, win one of the 7 prize packs. Pretty awesome. Hopefully you had a fantastic holiday and that you have more plans and you are around people that love you and support you. And of course, remember to be kind because that is incredibly important. And let's not forget that there's still a virus out there. So kind of wear your mask indoors. It's a good habit. There's a new variant out of Africa. uh, just be careful because as much as it seems like everything is normal, everything isn't. So just be safe, be kind, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.